Welcome back, budgeteers. Coach Nino Villa here, disciple of Christ, husband, father, and financial coach. And today on the New Money Habits podcast, I want to talk to you about ending the stigma around getting help when help is needed. Hey there, budgeteers. The new year is here, and you know what that means. It's time for fresh starts and new habits. If one of your goals is to get better with your money, New Money Habits has exactly what you need to kick things off right: the Payday Power Planner. This isn't just any budget tool. The Payday Power Planner is designed to work with your pay periods, not just the calendar month. Why does that matter? Because it helps you to see exactly when your money is coming in and going out. No surprises, no guesswork. With the Payday Power Planner, you'll know if you're working with a surplus or facing a deficit, so you can make informed decisions about your money. It's not just a plan, it's the clarity and control you've been looking for to start the new year strong. Make this the year you finally build new habits for financial freedom. Grab your free Payday Power Planner from New Money Habits today and take the first step toward a better financial future. Visit newmoneyhabits.com now, because this year it's time for a better plan for your money. Today's topic really hits close to home for me. When we think about trends that have come up over the last 5 to 10 years, one of them is this idea of ending the stigma around mental health, and that we need to negate the shame of needing to get help. That, we live in, just stressful conditions, and day-to-day life can be difficult for a lot of people to navigate. And so over the last 5 or 10 years, there's really been a push to end the stigma around mental health and mental health issues. And that hits close to home for me, because as somebody who has been hospitalized for stress and anxiety, who has been through therapy for stress, anxiety, fear, and even anger, it's something that hits close to home for me. So what does that have to do with your finances? Well, I think we need to end the stigma around getting financial help. And when we identify that our financial health is not good, that there shouldn't be any stigma around getting help for your financial health. Just like we're ending the stigma for getting help with your mental health, I think it's time to end the stigma around getting help for your financial health. The bottom line is, there is no shame. There's no shame in raising your hand and saying, hey, I need help. For whatever reason, that is very difficult for a lot of people to do, including myself for a very long time, until I realized the benefits of getting the help. I live a life now that is so much more peaceful, comforting. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't say that that is all rooted in my faith in Jesus, but I've also been given really beneficial techniques and exercises that help me take what I believe, take my faith, and put it into practice every day. And so I have in my past been medicated for mental health. I've been hospitalized for mental health. And when I started to get help, my awareness went through the roof. Things I had no idea were going on kind of in my head or behind the scenes, if you will. All of that came to light. And as I became consciously aware of those things, I could react and respond in those situations differently. I have had 2 incredible Christian counselors who have helped me to navigate through some anger issues, some obsessive compulsive or borderline obsessive compulsive disorder issues. And mine are not physical, they're mental. And so I know how valuable it is to get help when help is needed. So I wanted to start this episode off by being a little bit vulnerable, opening up a little bit about my own situation to say that if you're looking at your financial situation and you are just at your wits' end about what do I do? I can't keep doing the things that I'm doing. Something needs to change. And I also want to address where this stigma even comes from that, oh, what, you need help with your money? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not kidding you, because you know what? At least here in the United States, we do an inept job of educating anybody on personal finances. So what do I mean? I mean, it's not your fault that you've been thrown into the deep end, told to figure it out for yourself, and then for whatever reason made to feel less than, inadequate, or in some way shamed for raising your hand and saying, hey, I need help with this. We do little to no personal financial education at the high school level, and we don't do it at the college level. My personal experience, as I've shared on the podcast before, is I did take an economics course in high school. There was a segment on personal finance, but the project that was associated with that particular segment was ridiculous. It was asking a 16-year-old to pretend as though I was going to buy a $25,000 vehicle, brand new. So I had to go research what kind of makes and models would I be able to afford on a $25,000 budget. And I think maybe it started to address like what would be the terms of financing it. So how much would I be borrowing? How long would I have to pay it back? What would the interest rate be? And therefore, what would the monthly payment be? But what that segment didn't do is it didn't give any point of reference. What I mean by that is, even if I did that project well, and I went and I researched the vehicle, and maybe I came in way under budget and I was going to buy something for $18,000, and I crunched the numbers and I found out that my payment was going to be $225 a month. I'm making that up. But let's say that that's what I came up with. What's the point of reference? $225 based on what? I was 16 years old at the time, maybe working part time at a fast food restaurant, maybe making about $70 a week. But the project, I don't recall anyway, the project didn't ask me to take what I'm making or give me any type of income as a point of reference. You know what that project also didn't include is, once you get a car, you also need car insurance. So, okay, you were able to calculate the car payment. Whoop-de-doo. What's the car insurance? What's the maintenance and upkeep? How much do you have to put in the gas tank, and how often to fill up? How much is that costing you? There was no point, not a single point, and not multiple points of reference. What's your income? What's your discretionary spending? There was no real financial literacy. What you taught me in that segment is how to go get myself into tens of thousands of dollars in debt with no references to what is your income, what is this car payment as a ratio or a percentage of that income. Is that too high? Is that reasonable? None of these things were addressed. So there's absolutely no shame in the idea that you might not know because nobody told you. Fast forward, I get into my college years. Now I'm studying business and finance. But business and finance at the college level and what I was studying for is business finance. It's telling me how a corporation runs its business, profit and loss statements, income statements, balance sheets, that sort of thing, accounting. but it was all corporate accounting. Corporate accounting doesn't help you account for your personal budget, your personal income and expenses. It might give you an awareness, but you're not going to run your personal budget, your personal books like you do a company's. So there's very little, if any, financial education. And so you've received no help, and then you're shamed if you raise your hand and say, "I need help." Come on. That's absolutely ridiculous. This is why I've been doing what I've been doing since 2013. This is why I come alongside people and I help them learn how to manage their money well, because the education just isn't out there. And I think we need to put an end to the stigma. Like, we are ending the stigma around people raising their hand and saying, "Hey, I have some mental health issues that I need help with." We also need to end the stigma around people raising their hand and saying, "Hey, I haven't quite figured out this personal finance thing yet, and I don't manage money the way I'd like to, so I need help." There's nothing wrong with that. Absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Hey there, budgeteers. You know, good news can only be good news if there's bad news. So, what's the bad news? The bad news is you and I have a deadly disease called sin, and this disease causes us to rebel and disobey God. See, God is holy, righteous, and just, and He cannot be in the presence of sin. So, this horrible disease of ours separates us from the God who created us. And the bad news gets worse. There isn't anything you or I can do to make ourselves right with God. We are dead in our sins and on our way to an eternity separated from God. But that's not God's will for us. See, for God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish but have everlasting life. God did what only God could do. He made a way for us to be reconciled to Him through Jesus Christ. Jesus came into the world to save sinners like you and me. While we were still sinners, storing up God's anger against us for our rebellion and disobedience, Christ died for us. Jesus took the punishment that you and I deserve and have earned. Jesus is the substitute for your punishment and mine. Now, isn't that some good news? The word gospel means good news. The gospel of Jesus Christ is that you and I broke God's law and Jesus paid the fine. When we place our faith and trust in Jesus, we get to experience God's grace and mercy. Our gratitude should turn us from our rebellious and disobedient sin toward God, seeking after Him and His righteousness. When we do, God gives us a new heart and a new mind. Praise God for His goodness, and remember, God loves, humans sin, Jesus saves.
So now that we've eliminated the stigma and we're saying it is perfectly A-okay to raise your hand and say, "I need help managing my money better." Perfectly fine. Here are 5 signs that it's time to ask for help. Sign number 1, money fights. If you are married, in a relationship, and you are fighting about money, this is a clear indication that it is time to get some help. Money fights are simply a symptom of a deeper problem. A problem probably centered around bad communication, bad management, that sort of thing, not being on the same page as to what are our financial goals, how are we going to achieve those. And so money fights is the first sign, or one of the 5 signs, that it's time to get some help. I think about, again, my own experience as I went through counseling for some work-related stress and anxiety. We were able to tap into why I was as angry a person as I was. My anger, my reaction in certain situations, uh, the short fuse and kind of being in the red zone, these were all indications that I needed help, but I was ignoring the signs. It was evident that I needed help. Well, constant money fights between you and your spouse is a red flag. It is an indication that you need help. And that's okay to need help. It's okay to admit, hey, we're fighting about money all the time. I'm telling you, there's a pathway forward where you will get on the same page, you will communicate well, and you won't be fighting about money. So, money fights, clear sign that it's time to get some help. The second sign that it's time to get help is money problems. And what do I mean by money problems? If you feel like you have an income problem, you're not making enough money, that's a money problem. If you feel like you are spending more than you are making and your expenses are out of control, your spending is out of control, that's a money problem. And those are signs that it's time to get some help. You can get help to raise income, reduce or eliminate expenses, curb spending. So that's another that's just another indication that it's time to get some help. Sign number 3 that it's time to get help with your money is money anxiety. You do not have to live with stress and anxiety and fear about your money, regardless of your money situation. You don't have to live that way. You are allowed to live with peace, comfort, and joy around your money as long as you know what the source is. If you know what the true source of peace, comfort, and joy is, then all the money anxiety goes away. And when we manage money well, we eliminate the stress and the anxiety that we feel around money. So if you have stress, anxiety, discomfort around your money, it's another tall tale sign that it's time to get some help. The fourth sign that it's time to get help with your money is what I like to call money insanity. That's I do the same thing and I'm expecting a different result. Nothing's changing, but somehow I expect my situation to be different. If you are experiencing money insanity, you're doing the same thing over and over and over, and you're not getting any type of different result, well, then it's time to get help with your money so that you can start doing things differently. And those different inputs will get you different outputs. So if you feel like you've been doing the same thing, expecting a different result and not getting it, it's time to get some help with your money. And the fifth sign that it's time to get help with your money is that you're just stuck. Perhaps you have tried to do a budget and it's failed, or you have been doing a budget, but you're not seeing the type of growth you want. Whatever that stuck point might be, it's an indication that it's time to get help. Think about this like plateauing with weight loss. Let's say you start a workout regimen, you start a new uh, diet, and you're starting to see results at first. And you're like, okay, this is great. I'm seeing some results. And then it plateaus. And you're doing the same things and they were getting you results, but all of a sudden you're not getting the same results you were getting. And so now you're probably confused or frustrated. And so it's just another sign that it's time to get help. And as I said in the first segment, we're ending the stigma around raising your hand and saying, I need help. It's okay to say, hey, these I'm experiencing one or more of these signs. I either have money fights, money problems, money anxiety, money insanity, or I'm just stuck. I'm experiencing one or more of these. I need help. And that is perfectly fine. Except your thoughts and your beliefs that are really deeply rooted inside of you are probably triggering some emotions that are driving your behavior that causes you to avoid. Hey there, budgeteers. It's a brand new year, and that means it's time for new habits, starting with your money. Take charge of your finances in 2025 with New Money Habits Financial Coaching. This isn't your typical financial advice. New Money Habits is all about giving you the knowledge, tools, and support to make confident money moves and build a rock solid financial foundation. Here's the deal: we're offering a free discovery session to kick off your journey to financial freedom. That's right, no strings attached. In this session, one of our expert coaches will help you to identify your financial goals and create a better plan for your money. We'll help you master your money mindset, sharpen your money management skills, and keep you accountable every step of the way. Make 2025 the year you say goodbye to financial stress and hello to the freedom you've been dreaming about. Schedule your free discovery session today and start creating the new money habits you need to achieve financial freedom. Okay, so we're killing the stigma around raising your hand to say, I need help. We just identified 5 clear signs that it's time to ask for help. So, what is stopping you from asking for help? Well, remember that we have deep rooted thoughts and beliefs that trigger our emotions, and our emotions drive our behaviors. So, what are some deep rooted thoughts and beliefs that are going to stop you from raising your hand and saying, hey, I need help managing my money? Number one is you're going to tell yourself, I can't afford to get help. Right? I can't afford a financial coach. I can't afford whatever it is. So I can't afford it becomes a thought that triggers emotions that drives behaviors. If you think I can't afford it because my money situation is crazy or whatever, I'm behind on other bills, whatever that is. And if you're behind on bills, listen to last week's episode. That's a starting point for a lot of the clients that I sit down with is they're behind on bills. They still find a way to make time to sit down with me. They can afford it and we move forward and we get them out of that within 6 to 8 weeks. So if you're thinking I can't afford it, well that's going to keep you from reaching out. Another thought you might have is I should be able to do this on my own. Well, that's just a lie. And it's a lie that I've addressed earlier in this episode. You haven't been given the knowledge, tools, and resources to do this on your own yet because nobody has sat down with you to educate you. Again, that's not your fault. It's not like you were offered it and you said, no, not interested. It was just never offered. And so that's another thought. I should be able to do this on my own. That is going to trigger an emotion that is going to cause you to behave a certain way. Another thought or belief that you might have is it's not that bad. My money situation is not that bad. So I don't really need to raise my hand and say, hey, help. Or you might think to yourself, I'll just be judged. I'll be judged for what I spend my money on or the fact that I'm in as much debt as I am or whatever. And this too is going to cause you to not seek the help that you need. These are all what I call stinking thinking. You can't afford it. You're just not managing your money very well right now. So get help doing that. You should be able to do this on your own. Nope. You're not called to do life by yourself. That's not a requirement. It's a lie from the enemy who wants you to isolate and feel like you have to do everything on your own. But it's bologna. That's what my dad used to say instead of baloney. The phonetic pronunciation of baloney, bologna. That's bologna. If you're telling yourself it's not that bad, you're probably in denial. Denial is not a good place to be in. I should know. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt. And I'll be judged. Look, anytime you get vulnerable with anybody, I was vulnerable earlier in this podcast. You risk being judged. I can't tell you that you won't be by me. You sit down with me, we're going to just talk about what's going on. We're going to talk about what your income is, what your expenses are. And I have plenty of clients who spend money on things I wouldn't. Oh well, it's their money, it's their life. I'm not there to say, "Ooh, you shouldn't be spending money on that." And I don't even tell them I wouldn't spend money on that, because that's not what we're working together for. We're working together to manage the income and the expenses that you do have, get you into a surplus, and then manage that surplus well enough to achieve the financial goals that you have. That's what we're doing. So I might challenge certain expenses that get in the way of expressed goals. If you tell me you're trying to save for a down payment on a house, and then you're going to tell me, well, I'm going to take, $20,000 of the $60,000 that I have saved, and I'm going to go and do this other thing with it. I'm going to challenge that. I'm going to say, hold on a second. This is your expressed stated goal. This is what we're working on. Are we augmenting? Are we changing? Are we changing timelines? You wanted to have that saved by X date. If we do this, it's going to elongate it. Are you okay with that? So I'm just going to challenge the thinking, but I'm not going to judge and say, no, you can't do that. So if that's how you're thinking, then emotions like shame, guilt, and fear are what are the emotions that are triggered, right? If you say, I can't afford it, you feel shame, guilt, or fear around your situation. If you're telling yourself, I should be able to do this on my own, you're definitely living in shame. Shame, I can't possibly ask for somebody's help. If you think it's not that bad, you're dealing with denial. And if you don't want to be judged, or if you're telling yourself, I'm just going to be judged, well, then now you're dealing in like shame, guilt, and fear. So the behavior becomes avoidance. It becomes isolation. I'll figure it out on my own. This is my problem to deal with. But I'll tell you right now, the scriptures tell us that we're supposed to bear one another's burdens. This is another reason why I do what I do. I love to come alongside clients and help them see their financial situation in a whole new light. In a whole new light. If you are experiencing one of the 5 signs that it's time to get help, money fights, money problems, money anxiety, money insanity, or you're just stuck, then it's also time to shift your thinking. So instead of telling yourself, I can't afford it, say, I'll find a way. Instead of, I should be able to do this on my own, remember that you're not required to do life by yourself. If you're telling yourself it's just not that bad, hey, let's not let it get any worse. I don't want it to get any worse. I want to get ahead of this thing. And if you're afraid that you'll be judged, at the end of the day, there's only one judge that matters. So I don't like that one. That one's hard for me to help other people realize. Like, you gotta just stop worrying about what other people think. You just gotta stop worrying about what other people think. I have a 15-year-old daughter, and I have to try to encourage her with this all the time, and it's really hard because I really don't care what people think of me. I'm an open book. I am um, very, very vulnerable. I put myself out there. Some people probably have some thoughts about, wow, I wouldn't do it that way. That's fine. I, I just, I don't care what people think about me when, especially when they don't know me. Uh, so I've gotten off on this tangent about my daughter and trying to encourage her to not worry about being judged by others in an effort to encourage you, listener. Don't worry about what other people think. If you know, hey, my financial situation is not what I want it to be, I would like it to get better, I would like to learn how to do that, and I would like to change my thoughts and my behaviors around money, then you do you. Reach out to a financial coach, whether that's me or another new money habits coach or somebody else, or just an accountability partner in your own circle of influence. So my hope is that I've challenged your thinking a little bit on this, that if you realize you need help, that asking for help is okay. Right? Now, I would caution you, go to the right outlets, the right sources for help. Um, Sometimes when we think about wanting an accountability partner in our own circle of influence, we just got to be very mindful of who we select. Right? But in the meantime, if you are thinking to yourself, I would like to get some help with my finances, I want you to know you don't have to do it alone. Join the New Money Habits community for free and connect with people who are walking the same path you're walking. You can also become a member for as little as $5 a month, and you'll unlock tools like our Payday Power Planner Plus. If you really want to take your journey to the next level, you can upgrade and tap into the dozen of expert coaches that we offer. You can start to attend member-only events, and you can even join group coaching. So, raising your hand to say, I need help, is not a sign of weakness. It's wisdom. The wise seek counsel. It is wise to raise your hand and say, I need help. Nothing wrong with that. Let's end the stigma on asking for help, period. Whether that is help with our mental health or help with our financial health, help with our marriage, help with parenting. It is okay to ask for help. We are not called to do this life alone. We are called to bear one another's burdens. Let us help you bear the burden of learning how to manage your money well.
That does it for this episode of the New Money Habits Podcast. Remember, if you have any questions, make sure to hit us up on social at New Money Habits and follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Please consider leaving a 5-star rating and review to help us spread this message of hope to people looking for a better plan for their money.